Hello Hastings, welcome to this in studio. I am Tom Wright. With me tonight is Miss Danna Shultz. Welcome to the studio, Danna.
Thanks, Tom. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and we have a big reason to have you because Miss Danna Shultz here has announced her candidacy for mayor. Yes, she's going to be running for mayor this year, 2018. And so a very exciting decision, and we're going to talk all about your decision and hear the story behind that. Also here, maybe we can get some secret campaign strategy she's got going on. We'll see. I'm going to try. I'm going to dig. And then we'll also find out what can we expect from a Mayor Danna Shultz if elected, and what her top priorities would be, all that stuff. So, but Danna, let's start with the decision. Tell us, when did that seed get first planted that, you know what, I think I might run for mayor?
Well, I think I probably started thinking about it last fall or into the winter. I had some conversations with some people who asked if I had any interest in running for office again. And to be honest, when the Senate seat became open, the one that Carla Bigham won, I'd been approached and wanted to know if I wanted to run for state Senate. And that just didn't, the timing wasn't quite right. My brother had just passed away, and I had a lot of things happening personally, and I said, you know, this is just not the right timing for me. So I declined that regretfully and respectfully. I was very pleased to have people ask me that. And then I had a conversation with my husband and my family and some friends, and just sort of felt that the time was right for me to jump into this and to take on the leadership role of being the mayor of the city that I call home. Great.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a moment here and address the elephant in the room for those that follow Hastings politics. You lost your re-election in 2016 for Ward 4 to Trevor Lund. So for those out there, that there may be someone out there asking, well, why does she think she can win the election for mayor then? What would you say to those people?
Well, I think I have to talk to people, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think I've got a lot to offer in the situation now without Mayor Hicks there. You need to have solid leadership at the helm. Being mayor is not simply running a meeting. You've got to be able to move your council forward. You have to be able to deal with staff. You have to be able to deal with a wide range of interests and opinions and come up with compromise and ways to get things done, because Hastings has a $26 million city budget. Probably about a little less than half of that is raised through levy, through property taxes. And the work that you do at the city level, a lot of it is very basic. Police and fire takes up about well over a third, maybe 40% of your budget. You've got to plow streets, you have to fix streets, you have to make sure that the water's clean. Mayor's just doing an initiative on clean water right now. You have a lot of things that actually make your community a great place to live that has to get done, and it gets done at the city level. So that takes a lot of balancing and a lot of work to keep up with all of that sort of thing. And I think I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge and the background to be able to do that.
Yes, and let's talk more about your background. I haven't covered that yet. Tell us, for those that may be not familiar, tell us about your resume, because obviously you're no stranger to the city council.
No.
I believe it was 4 terms you served for Ward 4.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? And chair of many committees. I'll let you tell us, for those not familiar, what is your background in what kind of experience you bring to the table here?
Well, most people don't know that I grew up in a very, very small town on the far western edge of the metro called Norwood, Young America. And my father died when I was a kid, but I had my great-grandfather was a county commissioner out in McLeod County way back in the late to early 1900s. And my family was always very much of a public service or giving back to the community. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom worked as a school cook for most of her, after my dad passed away. And so that was then considered, to those who are given a great deal, you are expected to give back. And so, there was always sort of a community involvement in a way to help other people. So I think that's kind of what prompted me to be involved in local activities. And I have a degree in journalism, so that kind of really prompted the issues that I like to be involved in. And then way back in 1987, I was hired at the Minnesota House of Representatives to do communications and constituent work for Bob Vanasek, who was a speaker at the time. And so that, once I got into the legislature, I really, really enjoyed the legislative process. It's very interesting to watch bills being crafted and watch the process and see the outcome and the work from beginning to end on how all of that change, how it all works, and then you go forward and you say, look, we passed this. This happened. We're trying to make change for the better. So it's not about politics for me. It's about working in the legislature and watching the policies and the things that you can do that make your community, your state, whatever, a better place to live. And so that's kind of how I got involved in all that. And then when I came to Hastings, Hastings seemed like a really big town to me after living and growing up in such a small town. And actually, Paul got me involved.
What was the population of your town that you grew up in again?
When I was growing up there, it was about 1,000 people.
Okay, yeah, that's a little smaller.
Yeah. And Paul got me involved in the park board, so I served on the park board for a while, and then Lynn Moratska got me involved in planning commission. And so I had both of those as my background, and then when Janice Johnson decided she was going to retire for 4th Ward, she called me and said, I'm going to retire, I think you should run. And I did. So that's kind of my involvement. But I've been involved in my church for since we moved here in St. Philip's. And, we're still active members there. I've been on their youth council. I've done that type of thing. I'm on the Y board now and on the Black Dirt board. So I've got a lot of things that just community related things. And I guess it's a matter of, this is my strong suit. This is where this is what I'm good at in terms of working with policies and ideas, and taking those ideas and shaping them into a way that you turn them into something that your community can really look at and benefit from. When you think of the huge project that was the Riverfront Renaissance, that started as an idea with Mike Slavic and Ron Toppin and Tony Alongi upstairs in City Hall when we were trying to put together some kind of a riverfront project. And I believe it was early 2007. And we did all this work and then kind of waited because we didn't know what was going to happen with the bridge. And then 35W bridge happened, and then everything came together. Because that's when the push really happened, is then we had the opportunity, got the new bridge, and suddenly the city was able to really bank on that. And that's been 11 years now. So it takes a little process, but you also need to know how to work that to bring people in, get your comments, do all that work, and have strong community advocates that like to do that type of thing.
Let's talk about your campaign. Without giving, I know you have to keep some things close to your vest, but
a few.
But you can't. I know you can't give everything away, but give something away. What do you plan to do? What is your strategy to get elected as mayor?
Well, I do plan to go out and door knock. Obviously, when I was on the council, I only had a ward.
One ward, yeah.
Which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So this will be interesting, but I think I've probably door knocked this city a couple of times with Katie Sieben or Dan Cater when he was on the school board, or Carla Bigham. So I sort of know my general sense of where things are. And sort of who's where.
And which house has the mean dogs? And
Well, I've learned about the dog thing, yeah, maybe the hard way. So
you have the scars to prove it.
I haven't been bitten, so that's a good thing. But I've been scared a couple of times. So there'll be that kind of voter contact. I also plan to, I think, hold some sort of listening sessions, and have people come. I don't know. I can't someplace. I don't know. Maybe the bakery, maybe Dunn Brothers. I don't know. And just have people come in and say, hey, what do you think? What are your ideas? Because that's how you really learn what's going on out there, and I'll host some stuff like that, and you do the lawn signs, obviously, and
where are you at with your yard sign designs? Is that not even on the radar yet?
Oh no, I got it done.
Oh, you've got it done. Ooh, care to reveal? Can we show it right now to our audience?
No. It's not going to be the same color as my other signs. Where I can tell you that. I just a friend of mine finished that, and I don't have my webpage. My daughter's going to work on that for me, and I don't have a...
No pressure, daughter. Yes.
Yeah, I know. She wasn't too happy with me today. Because I forgot to tell her when I was going to announce exactly. So she was surprised when she saw it on Facebook. And I also have to get my campaign Facebook page up. And I'll do that I have to raise some money. So those are kind of the things that I'll be working on in the next couple of months.
Just out of curiosity, how much, do you anticipate having to raise in a mayoral race? How much does that cost? I haven't looked at the numbers and the finance reports from past campaigns, so I have no idea.
It really depends on just sort of how you want to run your campaign.
Yeah.
I believe that in 2016, I raised about $3,000 for a ward campaign. I didn't spend it all, which I believe is a mistake. I should have. And so I'm thinking it's going to be in that range, probably more.
Okay.
And there'll be, social media is a big deal. And you've got to be a little careful now. You don't know who's scraping your information.
Yeah.
But I think that, your Google ads and all of that are that's really where people are looking at a lot of their stuff. So that's being worked on now. So
interesting. As I'm sure you're well aware, Mary Fassbender had also announced her bid for to mayor a few months ago, and so curious to hear your thoughts on her and why you feel voters should vote for you and not Mary Fassbender.
Okay. I've known Mary Fassbender probably since I came to Hastings. She's always been a major force in a lot of different arenas of where she's gotten involved, and she's a wonderful community asset. She's done a great job with Gobblegate and all the volunteer work that she's been involved in over the years. I think that what I bring to the table in experience and the skill in negotiating and compromise and working with a wide variety of people with differing backgrounds is going to really would be beneficial to me in role as mayor. And you've got to run meetings that don't always go as planned. And you have to know how to respond to that and how to react and how to keep things calm and smooth and moving forward. And I think that, I know the players, I know the budgets, the committees, sort of how things operate, and I think that will give me a real head start, hit the ground running and get going right away in 2019.
Well, let's say if you were elected, what can Hastings expect from you as mayor? What kind of mayor would Danna Elling Shultz be?
Well, I really think that, and I've said this to you before, I think that Hastings is really at a crossroads right now. And things have happened, I would say, the last 5 years rather quickly. The Target closing is sort of a symptom of what I see happening. We no longer shop the way we used to shop. People are online. I mean, I was going to write a column about how, you know, in 20 years, you just don't have to leave your house. You know, you order your stuff online and all comes, you push a little button, it shows up at the door. You don't need to buy your food. You don't need to go out. You get all your news from your phone or whatever device it's got that's all of that out there. And that is a very different way to approach the economy. And I think that Target in some ways fell victim to that here in Hastings, just the changing dynamic. Because it's not just here that Target closed. I mean, it wasn't Hastings specific. I mean, they kind of struggled with the physical plant. I also think they made some mistakes when they built that not big enough, and then they got competition from Walmart, and it all fell apart. But that's their issue. So I think with Hastings, we have to start looking at a way to build our population with the bringing in new people, young people, and I think we need jobs, but I think we need to look at that in a different way. I will get at least once a week someone will say to me, "Oh, you drive all the way to St. Paul from Hastings?" Yeah, and you know what? I bet I sit in traffic less time than you do, coming from the northern suburbs, for example. I mean, I get on the road and I drive and I get there. There are a lot of people who also spend 25 minutes on the road and they're sitting in traffic. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to convince people that they can come to Hastings. It's not that far, and you could also work here for your company. Let's say 2 days a week, you don't have to drive to your physical building. You can work at home. Okay, so what does that mean for the city? We've got to make sure our broadband's working. We have to make sure our fiber optics are in place. We've got to be able to provide the connections and the speed for people to be able to do that. Because if they can't access their internet and do it quickly and not have it break apart on them or whatever, they're not going to want to do that here. They're going to move. They all have to do is go up the road to Cottage Grove or Grove Heights. There you go. And so we have to make it that very accessible, and we have to have the right kind of housing. Millennials, as I've learned from my daughters, they're not always necessarily interested in buying a house with a yard. They like to buy condos. They like to buy things where they go in, hang up their stuff, make their dinner, do their thing, and don't have to worry about the outside work. And I think that with the Vermilion Street Corridor project that we're working on right now, we have an opportunity to do that in some really good spots. And that is part of that study that's going on right now. And so I think one of the first things I really want to do as mayor is, first of all, I want to convene a joint committee, and this is not joint powers that we have with the school district. This is with the school, the Y, the Rotary, the chamber, and get a group of people together, but specifically between the city and the school district, to talk about how we are going to promote our town that will draw people here. Because I know the school district needs that. That was a big discussion last fall. And then I think we need to make a video, and you guys can help, that we put out there on YouTube, and maybe it can be Hastings, not that far.
Right. Take a hike.
Take
to
a hike to
right?
Hastings, and Mike Bremer can be the guy. And get that out there and really push it so that people are saying, hey, it's a great town. Look, we got bike trails, we have a beautiful riverfront, our summers are filled with music and a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a great place to raise family, but it's a great place to be, we got a brewery. Or if you just can't stand it, you're only 10 minutes from a spotted cow.
Right, exactly.
Across the
river. And who doesn't love a spotted cow?
Now
right?
and again. So there's trying to come together, because I've really pushed that tourism piece, because Hastings has got, people say that to me all the time. Oh, it's a great town, it's beautiful. Yes, natural resources, 2 rivers. Great, the Vermilion River Gorge, our bike trails, our paths, it's all there in a nice package, and we just have to convince people that this is a place to be.
There you go. Well, I'm sorry we're running out of time, but I want to thank you for coming in, and congratulations on your decision here.
Well, thank you.
And it's very exciting. And I'm sure we're going to be talking again here on your campaign.
Yes.
So I want to wish you the best of luck, though, on your
Right.
campaign.
And as soon as I get all that stuff up and running, I'll let you know, and you can.
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing it up. For anybody that may be watching right now,
Sure.
that would like to get a hold of you, perhaps in the meantime, do you have a phone number or email you'd like to give out?
Yes, you know, I'll give out my cell number. 651-270-1655 is my cell. You can always call or text me. If I don't answer, it means I'm probably in the middle of something at work, but I'll get back to you. And for the time being, you can use my general email account, which is Danna, DANNA, ELLING @hotmail.com. And I will be sure to get right back to you. Make sure you put 2 N's in my first name. I'm looking forward to talking with a lot of people and answering a lot of questions and hearing your ideas.
There you go. We'll have that phone number and email address right on the screen there for them. Well, Danna, with 2 N's, thank you again for coming in.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Wright. This is In Studio. We'll see you next time.